we stand, in God we trust. There is no fear. United we stand, in God we trust. There is no fear. United we stand, in God we trust. There is no fear. There is no fear. There is no fear.
Friends, gamblers, sports enthusiasts, it is time. It is finally time for a brand spanking new episode of Nall or Nuthin. That's right, Nall or Nuthin. I'm your host, Jason Nall. Good to be with you again this week to talk all things sports through the lens of legalized sports gambling here in the state of Tennessee. A lot has happened. We took Thanksgiving week off last week. We're back, and man, during that 10 days since we last talked to you, a lot has happened. The college football world is much clearer now as we look at the football playoff picture as well as NFL. A lot of moving and shaking. A lot of teams have been eliminated. A lot of teams that we didn't expect are in contention. It's been a crazy couple of weeks, and we're ready to get after it today. Kind of recap what's gone on in the last week and let you know where we stand in college and NFL, as well as giving out some fresh picks. Fresh picks on the show today for conference championship weekend in college football and week 13 in NFL. Let's bring our contributors in. First off, we have Badlands Brandon coming to you straight out of North Mississippi. Badlands, how was Thanksgiving week?
It was good. It was a little different this year for us. We're still not in our house yet, so we just decided to do what most people down here in the great state of Mississippi do. We just hit up IHOP for Thanksgiving. So we enjoyed some IHOP on Thanksgiving this year. It was a little different for me, but overall it was still good to get to be with the family and everything. So a little different, but still good.
All right, pancakes, that's all right. Pancakes is an international house of pancakes. I like it. I like it. And then Big Daddy C from Bartlett, Tennessee. Tell me about it, man. Thanksgiving week, how was it? I know we all got together at the track. We'll talk about that here after you talk about your family Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it was good. We had the family over and we ate and cooked here at the house, so it was good. It was a nice Thanksgiving. Watched football all day, so it was a good day.
Yeah, it was a good day. Speaking of good days, the three of us converged at Southland Greyhound Racing and Casino and hung out in the sports book on the Friday after Thanksgiving. Big winning day for you and I, Big Daddy C. Big winning day.
Yeah, but my day started off good. Brandon was pumping me hard on that England, and he was just begging me, just please bet England. I love them. There's no way they can lose. They're going to kill the United States. I love England. I love them. They're going to win. I love England. So I had to hear that for about an hour, but I luckily avoided that. I told him that United States had already kicked their butt a few hundred years ago to get our freedom. So there's no way I was going to get on England, and luckily I avoided that bullet. And then me and you had some good picks and won the last few races. So it ended up being a good little pizza money day for us.
Yeah, it was a good day. It was a good day, a solid winning day over there. I had about 15 Michelob Ultra drafts, and they were so cold out of that draft there. It kept showing a temperature of 32.1 when they put it in that frozen glass. I got a little ice flex on top of it, man. It was a good day when you can get beer that cold. Badlands, the only bet I lost that day was you and I's parlay bet we had on England, and I don't remember what the other half was because we never got to it in that soccer matchup. Uh, so how has your World Cup soccer bets been outside of the one you and I tried to make?
It's been pretty good for the most part. I've hit I think two so far with it. That play that we made wouldn't have really mattered anyway because we had Arkansas tied up with Missouri in that, and Missouri was an outright winner in that one for us. So we would have lost regardless, even if England would have pulled it out. Um, but overall, it hadn't been bad. I do know that 8 teams have punched their tickets: England, Senegal, France, Poland, Argentina, Australia, Netherlands, and the U.S. Are all now into the knockout stage. We'll figure out over the next couple of days who else will join them in the knockout stage. Um, but
So,
overall, it's
those
been
of us here in Tennessee, the knockout stage, is it single elimination? You either win or go home. There's no ties in those games, or can there still be ties?
No, so the ties are over once you hit the knockout stage. So if you're tied at the end of regulation, they give you a 15, or it's actually 30 minutes. It's 15 minutes per side. So you'll have a 30-minute add-on time. And if you're still tied after the 30 minutes, you go straight into penalty kicks. Each team will take 5 guys to shoot penalty kicks, and whoever wins moves on, and whoever loses goes home.
Big Daddy C, it was 30 minutes of overtime there in the soccer. It seems like we can get 2 naps in during a soccer match.
Yeah, that's just 30 more minutes of nap time right there.
All right, so USA they beat Iran. Thankfully, you don't want to lose to Iran in anything. If it's tiddlywinks, you better beat Iran. Well, we beat Iran to get out of the group stage 1-0, and now USA plays the Netherlands. And I haven't seen the odds. You'll probably know, Badlands. I would assume the Netherlands are a pretty heavy favorite.
Yeah, the Netherlands are a pretty decent sized favorite in this one. This is going to be a low scoring game. I would imagine the total would probably be under 2. Netherlands has probably the best defensive in all of the world. So the U.S. is really going to struggle, I think, trying to get a ball in on the Netherlands. So this might be a game that you might just say that goes all the way, and Netherlands ends up winning it, maybe in penalty kicks. They don't have a strong offense, so it'll be a very defensive game, I would imagine.
Okay. All right. There is our update, our Nall or Nothing update. That's all we got. We rely on Badlands Brandon for all things tennis, all things World Cup. And you got any picks as we go into the knockout stage, Badlands?
Uh, I was looking at this. I was looking at this earlier today, and there's a couple of things that caught my eye today. You've got Croatia and Belgium this morning, 9 o'clock, and this is one to me that's really interesting. Belgium has not played; they're not the same team they were 4 years ago. So I would definitely load up on Croatia here, and also Spain and Japan. I have no idea what's going to happen in this one. That's a game that everybody's really interested in at 1 o'clock today. So my only one that I feel really good about is Croatia beating Belgium today.
All right. Well, how about the USA's chances into this knockout round? Have they really achieved the high end of what they can do just by making it to it, or do you expect USA to make a splash here and continue forward?
Uh, I think they've done pretty much all they really most everybody thought they would do. Make it out of the knockout stage. That group wasn't especially a really tough group. England and the U.S. were the 2 best teams in it out of the 4 that were in it. Um, I could see them maybe scooting by Netherlands, but after Netherlands, then you're going to get into the real hard hitters. You'll have to face the Brazils of the world and the Argentinas and the France, and I think that'll probably be their exit cue. So if they, I think they might have a shot to make it out against Netherlands, but I don't think much outside of that they're going to go much further.
All right, there it is. There's your World Cup update, Nall or Nothing style. We're going to grab a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Welcome back. It is Nall or Nothing, and you have caught us either on your FM dial on 101.3 The Buzz, maybe at WNWS TV at WNWS.com, or even on our YouTube channel. That's Nall or Nothing, NALLORNUTHIN on YouTube. I'm your host, Jason Nall. Glad to be with you this week, and glad to dive into the sports action. First of all, we got to go over the good, the bad, and the ugly since we last met. And I'm going to tell you, this is an SEC football style good, bad, and ugly. The good, let's talk about those Gamecocks out of South Carolina. I'll tell you what, 8-4 for for the season, but the way they finished, the furious finish to their season, will not soon be forgotten in Columbia. They finished second to the last game. They host Tennessee. Tennessee comes in as a 22.5-point favorite, ranked number 4 in the football playoff rankings. All Tennessee had to do was win at South Carolina, and then beat Vanderbilt. And more likely than not, Tennessee was in the college football playoff. But it didn't happen. And it didn't happen in a big way because they ran into a buzzsaw down in Columbia, South Carolina. 63-38 was the final. Spencer Rattler and the South Carolina offense looked unstoppable. Unstoppable. Tennessee's great quarterback, Heisman candidate, goes down with a knee injury late in the game. It was a complete disaster for Tennessee. Their season, their hopes of a college football playoff, their hopes of a Heisman campaign really all went up in smoke that night late in the season at South Carolina. A thumping 63-38 as a 22-point underdog. Then, well, what do they have to do the final week of the season? Play their arch rival, in-state rival, Clemson, at Clemson, with Clemson and now having moved into the college playoff picture with just the one loss. Clemson needed to win at home against their rival and then win in the ACC championship game, and likely they would have a punch ticket to the college football playoff. Spencer Rattler, Shane Beamer, first-year head coach, had different ideas. Clemson, carrying the longest home winning streak in the nation, saw it go down as South Carolina put on a furious second half rally to beat Clemson 31-30, even after falling behind 14 rock early in the game. No quit in South Carolina. They finished the season strong. I liked South Carolina all year long. My timing with them, I'll say, was not very good, as I took them against Arkansas earlier in the year, and one of their 4 losses came to my Hogs. But what a finish to the season. 3 of 4 down the stretch. They finished third in the SEC East behind Georgia and Tennessee. 8-4 record. Going to go to a nice bowl game. Probably the most optimism we have seen with this South Carolina program in a long, long time. Let's look at it this way. If Shane Beamer doesn't get SEC Coach of the Year, there ought to be an investigation, in my opinion. Really made it a great statement down the stretch. Big wins. Badlands Brandon, what did you think about the Dream Crusher, South Carolina, and that great finish to the season?
Well, it was definitely an interesting one for South Carolina. I mean, especially after the start they had. I didn't really think South Carolina was playing that good at all, and I know I was wrong on the preview show we did before that South Carolina Tennessee match. I was high on Tennessee just to come in and just absolutely crush South Carolina. But we're going to give South Carolina all the credit they deserve. They came in there and absolutely just annihilated a really good Tennessee ball club, and then to come in there and take care of Clemson, who had the longest home winning stretch. I mean, I'm like you. If Beamer doesn't get Coach of the Year, something's bad wrong. But I think South Carolina's really found the pieces they needed to win ball games and stay stay in tight games and find a way to win. So I think South Carolina did an amazing job in the latter part of the season.
Yeah, it really did. The good South Carolina Gamecocks with a furious finish under Coach Shane Beamer. My vote, SEC Coach of the Year. Let's move on to the bad. The bad, LSU disappoints in Aggieland. LSU, 2 losses, but big wins at home against Alabama had sealed the Western Division title for LSU, and their date was already set to face Georgia this coming weekend in the SEC championship game. The case had been well made, and it appears that could LSU win at LSU, and then somehow knocked down the defending national champion Georgia in the SEC championship game. They, with even 2 losses, would most likely, be in the college football playoffs. Well, LSU couldn't get it done. Texas A&M, maybe the worst season by a preseason top 10 team I've ever seen. By a coach getting on a $100 million a year contract in Jimbo Fisher. I think they'd lost 6 SEC games in a row, and 6 of 7 down the stretch. Just had absolute dumpster fire in College Station, but somehow they rallied and beat this, what I would say, phony LSU team 38-23, eliminating LSU from any contention in the college football playoff, even if they were to beat Georgia this week. Big Daddy C, were you surprised by that outcome?
Yeah, I don't know. I hate it for LSU. I don't think they were probably as good as the start they got off to. So I think the end of the year really showed more about who they are. So I don't know. I just don't think they were as good as the start they got off to. So I guess I got to say no. It really didn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, a really weird season for LSU. They kind of snuck back into the picture. I mean, we all saw them lose, going for 2 and failing against Florida State in what seems like 2 weeks ago, but was the opening game of the season, week 0 or week 1 of college football. And then they put together a pretty impressive run there under Brian Kelly, and just the one home loss to Tennessee after that until they tripped up in College Station and given Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M somewhat of a high note to finish the season on. Just 5 wins, even with that win for Texas A&M. So the bad LSU couldn't get it done when they controlled their own fate. Could not win in College Station. The ugly, I got to call it on the Lane train. The Lane train and Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, just an ugly season start to finish, if you ask me. I know they got some wins, and we'll cover that. But they had more losses and they had more drama than any team should have had, especially one that really is a middle of the pack team in the SEC West. So let's break it down. Jimmy Sexton, Lane Kiffin's agent, and an agent to, it seems like, every college coach out there. He pounced on Ole Miss's hot start and got Lane some more money before halfway through the season, a contract extension and a raise. Then at the end of the season, when Auburn had fired their coach and everybody was using Auburn as either leverage for their own job or as a possibility to jump to an SEC job, well, Kiffin, of course, was playing kissy-kissy with Auburn, flirting around with that while Sexton did his dirty, grimy work behind the scenes. And Kiffin gets another raise to stay at Ole Miss. Now, you would think, well, Ole Miss must be going to the college football playoff, or they must be going to a huge bowl, the Sugar Bowl down in Louisiana. Well, the bowls haven't been determined yet, but it doesn't seem like a team that lost 4 of 5 down the stretch is going to go to a very big bowl. And on top of that, the coaching job on the field that Lane Kiffin did in the Egg Bowl was the worst I've ever seen. Absolutely horrid. Game management was terrible. They scored a touchdown. They're a 2-point conversion from tying the game with 1 minute and 20 seconds left, and they had 3 timeouts, Ole Miss did. So if they miss a 2-point conversion, they kick it deep. Mississippi State likely runs the ball 3 times. They burn their timeouts. If they can stop the run, they'll get a punt back, and they'll have a chance. No timeouts, but with time on the clock to try to get down to field goal range. But here's what happened. Before that 2-point conversion, Lane Kiffin not only burned 1 timeout, he burned 2 timeouts in between the touchdown and the 2-point conversion. Great play by Mississippi State's defensive lineman. Sniffs out the shovel pass on the 2-point conversion, knocks it down. Ole Miss has now missed the 2-point conversion, and they have lost their 2 timeouts, and they were hapless to stop the clock when the onside kick failed, and Mississippi State got the ball. So Lane loses to the in-state arch rival Mississippi State, and really just a horrible job of on the field coaching. I give the ugly to the entire Lane Kiffin situation. Let's talk about their last 5 games. They win at LSU. They lose at LSU 45-20. They sneak a win at Texas A&M 31-28. Could have lost that game. They lose to Alabama. They lose to Arkansas, giving Arkansas their 6th win in bowl eligibility, and they finish the season losing to their arch rival, Mississippi State, at home. Good job, Lane Kiffin. 2 raises on the year. 2 raises in a contract extension. Goodness gravy. How ugly is that? How sad is Ole Miss to pay that guy for that kind of effort? Big Daddy C, you had an idea. You thought Ole Miss was a fraud about midway through the season.
Yeah, I did. I'd called that about midway through the season. I called them to lose their last 4, and I think they personally got lucky to beat A&M, or it would have been losing their last 4. They did, however, lose their last 3, and I was on the money line of Arkansas and money line on Mississippi State, so I was happy. I could just see at the beginning of the year they were running it up against just absolute nobodies, and then I knew they were going to hit some decent to fair teams at the end of the season, and it wasn't going to be as easy for them. So it was an easy fade for me, the Rebels.
Yeah, easy fade. And again, I mean, I understand that Lane Kiffin's a good recruiter, has a good offensive mind, and is a wizard in that transfer portal. And I think he'll keep Ole Miss competitive as long as he's there. But to me, that coaching effort in a big stage against a rival shows me that if they are able to get into the big games against the big teams that really mean anything, I'm not sure he can pull it off if he has to go toe to toe with a coach that's worth his salt. I thought it was horrible. What did you think about the way that game finished? You there, Big Daddy C?
Yeah, I lost you for a second. Were you asking me something?
Yeah, I asked you about the way that Egg Bowl finished. Did you see that? Did you see the timeout situation? The way the clock management by Lane Kiffin. I mean, how is he going to go toe to toe with the big boys in the SEC if they are getting in a good situation when he can't handle simple clock management at the end of a game?
Yeah, I did see that. I watched that whole game, and all I can say is I was really happy. I had Mississippi State on the money line. I had Mississippi State in a few parlays, so I was glad they were wasting their timeouts. I was hoping they would call one more. I thought it was awesome.
Well, there is always that side of it. Somebody's always happy when there's somebody sad. I happen to have Ole Miss on the money line. So there you go. Badlands, Brandon, are you still over there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, Big Badlands. Talk to me about Ole Miss, Mississippi State. It's right there in your backyard. It looks to me like Lane and Sexton really did a number on the administration and the fan base at Ole Miss, getting 2 raises out of a season where he loses 4 out of 5 down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean that's absolutely crazy. I don't understand how you lose 4 out of 5 and then you somehow miraculously manage to get a huge pay raise like Kiffin received. And and the bad thing about it is too is Kiffin is a guy that, like you said, he's going to recruit, he's going to be competitive and everything. But I still don't understand how you can lose. You beat all these cupcakes early in the year, then you come back and lose, to the Power Five, the better teams in the conference, and then they look at you and go, "Oh wait, let's give you another pay raise for finishing what? What did they finish? Fifth, fourth
Yeah.
or fifth in the West? Fourth or fifth in the West, and let's give him a pay raise? Come on, man, what a joke! Kiffin's a joke. I mean, and State did do a good job of running the ball. In that game, which is not technically what Mike Leach does with the air raid, but I think he's finally figured out if he's going to win in the SEC, he needs to have some type of run game. But I mean, Ole Miss had a chance. They could have gone out there. They knew it was going to be a run every play. They could have loaded the box up, stopped them, used the timeouts and forced Mississippi State to punt and get down. So it was a terrible job by Kiffin. I can't believe they gave this idiot a pay raise. I mean,
Yeah, I agree. All right, that's it. The ugly. The Lane train rolling through Oxford. picking up bags of cash, just robbing and stealing. Lane Kiffin, the ugly. We're going to grab another break. We'll be right back to dive into championship weekend of college football. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You've caught Nall or Nuthin on 101.3 The Buzz, Cleveland, Tennessee, on WNWS.TV and WNWS.com. Nall or Nuthin is brought to you by College Tour X. College Tour X is the premier amateur golf league in the Southeast United States. Be sure to check out tomorrow's pros and today's collegiate players playing individual World Amateur Golf ranked events at playtourx.org. That's playtourx.org. All right, man, we talked about a lot of the SEC happenings right there in the good, bad, and ugly, and how that season finished out for several teams. We talked about Clemson. They lost at home, and their playoff hopes are dashed. But one of the teams that really made a move and a strong finish and now holds their own fate, the TCU Horned Frogs. Badlands Brandon, TCU, they kept wanting to beat them. They kept saying this is the week they're going to lose. It just never happened.
Yeah, TCU's I read an interesting stat about TCU. I think their last or 4 games, I think the last 4 games that TCU's played in the regular season, they have had to come from behind to win those games. They have been down in every single one of their last 4 games and have had to battle back to be able to secure a win. And I think it speaks to the grittiness and the toughness of that TCU offense and defense all around about what they're able to do, even being down in a game. Me being a Baylor guy, along as a Mississippi State guy, watching that Baylor game, Baylor had that game won. I mean, there was no question. I mean, that was Baylor's game. And, what happens? Everybody starts cheering and busting beers out thinking that Baylor's fixing to take down TCU, and TCU comes back and ends up winning the game. And the crazy thing is, and I think we talked about this, I don't know who all saw this game. TCU came out. They had 5 seconds left. The kicker sprints onto the field, doesn't even line up his kick,
Right.
and kicks it through the upright to beat Baylor. And, I'm just looking at it like, this dude must have ice water in his veins because, I mean, that was a big play for him. But TCU is a team that I think is, they're the real deal. They proved they're the real deal. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I think it's going to be interesting to see when we get to the play.
Well, TCU definitely has proven to have a heart of a champion. Let's see if that heart's big enough to bring it all the way home. Another team that finished really strong, USC. They beat Notre Dame in a rivalry game to end their season 38-27, and Notre Dame had really played well. From about week 4 on, Notre Dame has played really, really well. It's a big win for USC and Lincoln Riley. I'd kind of doubted Lincoln Riley being the 5th choice before the season started to make the college football playoff and the favorite to win the Pac-12. I mean, was he really going to, even though he's bringing in some talent and had really done a good job with the transfer portal, he was taking a 4-win USC Trojan team, and he had a lot of expectation. He lived up to it. Great year for Lincoln Riley. Maybe National Coach of the Year consideration there for Lincoln Riley, I would say, to do something that fast and now have USC poised for the college football playoffs. Of course, they have a hurdle, and we'll talk about those hurdles in a minute. They also beat UCLA, my Bruins, down the stretch. They just finished strong. They've lost 1 game this year. It was on the road at Utah. They get a chance to avenge that Friday night in the Pac-12 championship game in Las Vegas. The other team we can recap, man, what about those Michigan Wolverines? It was just a couple years ago where I talked about how horrible Harbaugh was. What a disappointment he'd been going back to his alma mater, and how terrible Michigan was because they were getting 38 points and they couldn't even cover 3 years ago against Ohio State. What a turnaround. Since then, they won last year at home against Ohio State, and this year, as an over a touchdown underdog, they won in the shoe, beat the bejesus out of Ohio State in the second half. Big Daddy C, what do you think about those Michigan Wolverines? Maybe we lost Big Daddy C, so I'll continue talking. I'll talk about those Michigan Wolverines. Um, Trailed by 3 at halftime, and they got after it in the second half. Big play after big play, but really the big news was the defensive stops, holding the most powerful and highest scoring offense in the country, holding them to just 3 points in the second half, and really pulling away. The score was a little tricky. It wasn't quite as indicative of how close the game it was, but Michigan wins it by 20. Badlands, did you see that game?
Yeah, I watched that game. I'm still a little sour on Michigan from way early in the year when they played Maryland. On the playoff picture, but I'm not 100% sold on them. I'm going to try to stay away from Michigan if I can. I've flirted with them too many times and lost, so I'm just going to leave Michigan alone, I think.
Well, I'll tell you, Harbaugh, that's what we expected out of Harbaugh at Michigan. It did take a while to get there. Kudos to Michigan for staying with it and not throwing in the towel on Jim Harbaugh, and he's delivered, especially with 2 huge wins over Ohio State to end the season last year and now this year. All right, let's jump to these championship games this weekend. Rematch Utah and USC on Friday night. USC lost a close one at Utah back late September. Hasn't lost since. Now USC a 3-point favorite over under 67.5. Uh, Badlands, what do you think about this one?
Well, usually I love teams that are favored. It usually comes back and bites me in the ass, though. So I'm going to just go ahead and say that Utah finds a way to get it done. I've watched Utah play this year. They're a gritty team. I think they've got a lot to prove. Even though they just beat USC earlier in the year in Utah, I think this is still a good game for Utah. So give me the Utes.
Badlands Brandon likes Utah. He likes the Utes. Tough one for me. Tough one, tough one, tough one. I'm not sure about that one at all. I think USC's on a roll though, and I think they can avenge. So if I were going to bet it, and I'm sure I will, I may wait till in game times on that one to get the party started. We shall see. Um, Moving to Saturday, LSU and Georgia. Georgia now a big old 17.5 point favorite. Over under is 51. Um, I like the under 51. I think Georgia's going to do just what they need to do in this game. And I think what they need to do is have another just dominating defensive performance. Offensively, I think they'll keep it a little bit close to the vest. If they get ahead early, I think they'll be content to pound the ball, move the clock, and play great defense. So I will take a flyer here on the under 51. Um, I've got that as my first College Tour X birdie play of the week. I'll take the Georgia under. I grabbed it a little bit earlier in the week at 51.5. I still like it at 51. Um, Badlands, where are you on this SEC championship game?
Uh, I like your underplay here. I think it's good because I think you're right. I think Georgia might do just enough to get out. But on the other hand, though, too, I'm not going to lie. I really think LSU's defense is going to be up to the task. This is a big game for them. that 17.5 is a lot of points. So I would potentially play your under here, but I might also take LSU plus the 17. That's a
Definitely a lot of points. I just don't know what LSU can do. Their season ended in Aggie Land. Now, of course, they can get back up and play for an SEC championship. That could happen. Big Daddy C, you out there with us? Still no Big Daddy C. I'll take this opportunity to tell y'all Big Daddy C is coming to Cleveland this weekend, and he and I are going to build a new studio. And hopefully, some of these technical difficulties I've been fighting here for the last couple of weeks, we can sort out while he's here, and we get a better studio with maybe a little bit stronger signal and such. But anyway, we'll Big Daddy C, if you're out there, just step on in and talk. Let me know you're there, and I'll bring you right back in the show. So Georgia, 17.5 points, over under 51. Badlands likes LSU, plus the 17.5. I'm putting out a power play, one of my birdie plays of the week, on the under 51. Now, here's another rematch, and this is a tough one for TCU. In fact, I would just argue that these conference championships, they mean so little for some of these teams that are trying to get in the playoff. They just don't want to get hurt, and they don't want to lose their spot they've earned through 12 games. What a tough spot for TCU here. They have to beat Kansas State again. Now they're a 2.5 point favorite, over under 61.5. Kansas State is a top 10 team and playing as good as anybody outside of Georgia right now down the stretch, and TCU has to beat them again. Well, that's my. I just don't think they can do it. I think TCU may get in the playoff anyway if they lose a close one to Kansas State. But if I was TCU, I'd just roll the third string out there and say, we don't want to hurt anybody. We've done enough in our body of work. Committee, if you don't want to put us in with our third string losing to Kansas State, then so be it. We'll just say we were the national champions. I like Kansas State plus the 2.5, but what I really like is a teaser, and they're going to be a 2-game college football teaser, and I'll put that up now. I'm going to take Kansas State plus 8.5 points, teasing it up and grabbing 6 more points. I have to pair that with another game, which we'll talk about shortly. I think Kansas State's a very tough out for TCU here. Haven't beat them once, but Kansas State playing great right now. What do you think, Badlands?
Yeah, for sure. This is a game I really like right here too. Kansas State's running back who gave not only my team but every team in the Big 12 just absolute fits. Um, this is going to be a good game. Your teacher plays a good play here to get that line up for you and get Kansas State at 8.5 because I think the horseshoe that TCU's got stuck in them right now. Kansas State's liable to kick it out of them. So we'll see what happens. But I do like your play there. I like your Kansas State play 8.5.
Yeah, Big Daddy C, he likes the opposite of that. He has, let's go find Big Daddy C's plays here. His big plays of the week, he's dropping TCU out there. TCU minus 2.5. Big Daddy C likes. He thinks they're no problem. They're a team of destiny and they'll get it done, which very well may be the case. They may be a team of destiny and they may get it done, but I just think it's tough to beat a team twice, which they have to do with Kansas State, and especially one that's playing as well as Kansas State down the stretch. So anyway, Big Daddy C, he likes uh, TCU minus 2.5. Moving down the slate, we've got Clemson at North Carolina. Clemson 7.5, over under 63.5. Both teams didn't finish the season as they would wish, but here they are in the ACC championship game. What do you think about this matchup, Badlands?
Oh, as we were sitting down in Southland down there, I had taken that North Carolina game versus NC State, and I was all hyped up thinking that North Carolina was going to get up for that game and actually end up maybe putting something out there. But that ended up not working out to my favor as they didn't make it all the way. But I think this Clemson team is way, 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 way too much. For North Carolina. I know May has had a good year throwing the ball for Carolina and everything, but I think this is all Clemson. I think Clemson is just going to be too.
Yeah, Clemson's Clemson is, they can't score either, but they should be able to score against North Carolina. I don't know where to sit on this one. This is another one for me. I'll probably wait Badlands on the end game on and see if there's something that tickles my fancy to jump in once the game has started. Um, let's see. All right. Next up, Toledo versus Ohio. Big old Mac showdown. Toledo, big high scoring offense. Ohio, the defensive team here. Toledo, a 2-point favorite, over under 55. I'm going to ride with the offense here. I'll take Toledo, laying the 2. Middle of the afternoon, Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina now playing in a championship game again for the third year in a row. This is definitely not the Coastal Carolina team that got it all started for them a couple of years ago, but here they are in a championship game. They faced Troy. Troy's played excellent down the stretch. Even played Ole Miss good in Oxford early in the season. Troy an 8.5-point favorite. That is going to be the second half of my Play Tour X Birdie play of the week. In that teaser I talked about earlier, give me Troy teasing them down to -2.5, just under a field goal. I'm going to pair that up with Kansas State plus 8.5 that I talked about earlier. That's my 2-game teaser for college football and championship Saturday. Give me Kansas State plus 8.5, and here I'll take Troy, who comes in on a hot streak, laying under a field goal, under 2.5. Badlands, where you sit on that one?
Yeah, I like. It's going to be a tough game, though, to be honest with you, because you never really know what team you're going to get with Coastal Carolina. They're kind of a week-to-week team. I know they've still got their good quarterback, Grayson McCall, who I was big on last year. He hit a couple of parlays for me. Um, your teaser might be the best play, getting it down, but I think Coastal Carolina might make this a game. I'll probably stay away from this game. It's just something just doesn't seem right to me with it. I know Troy's got a good team, but if Coastal shows up, Coastal could be an outright.
Yeah, there could be an outright winner if Coastal shows up to play. If you like Coastal here, yeah, you're right. Maybe back them on the money line at plus 235. But I like Troy. I like teasing them down. I think they can win the game. I don't know if they'll win by the 8.5. Um, Purdue and Michigan. Here's another one. If I'm Michigan, I just roll the third string out there and say, you know what? I just beat Ohio State in the horseshoe, the number 1 ranked team in the land. And what do I have to prove now? Why do I need to play Purdue and risk someone getting hurt or risk Purdue, finding some magic and beating us? I wouldn't even play my starters. This is one where I don't know. I mean, I would probably take Purdue plus the 17. It's a huge number, over under 52. Um, but I don't know. Michigan, nothing to play for other than everything. I mean, but they did it last week. How do you come off that huge win in the horseshoe and then turn around and have to play Purdue just to protect yourself for the college football playoff? Well, again, this is even though Michigan's a 17-point favorite, I do think if they were to lose, they would still be in. But not much to play for here. I know it's a conference championship, but Michigan's undefeated in the conference. Purdue's got 3 losses. So Michigan's already won the conference championship. This is just a money grab for the conferences, another TV matchup. Who you like, Badlands? What happens here in this one? Purdue, Michigan. Michigan 17, over under 52.
I think Michigan would be crazy to even put their first string on the field. You don't want to risk injuries this close to the college football playoff. Already being an outright winner for them, and winning the conference, you don't want to go out there and get your guys dinged up. I think, like you said, you roll the third string out there. If Purdue beats you, great. You still just beat Ohio State at Ohio State. I'm like you. I would take Purdue plus the points here. It's the
All right. That is our college football championship week preview right there. He likes Purdue and the points. So did I. When we get back, we will jump into the NFL. Don't go anywhere. You've caught Nall or Nothing. Welcome back. All or Nothing, and we are steaming through this program just like we steamed through college football season. Well, it came and it went so fast. We are now to the championship games. The bowls will be announced next week. Playoffs coming soon. It seems like it was just yesterday. Big Daddy C, we were in week 0 and trying to get a plan together for the season. Where did the time go? All right, NFL. Well, the Packers lost a few more games since we were here last. Um, the Bills have got snowed out of a home game and now are fixing to play their third road game in a row due to snow. The Eagles, they keep on rolling. The Broncos, what a disaster under Russell Wilson. What's the biggest story of the last 2 weeks, Badlands, Brandon, NFL? Is it the Broncos still being a dumpster fire, or is it something like the Jets switching quarterbacks and getting a big win?
I don't know. I would have to go with the Jets switching quarterbacks and finding a way to win. I think that was probably the biggest thing, especially as bad as the Jets have been all year. I would say switching quarterbacks and then finally finding a way to win. I think that's pretty big in itself right there.
Pretty big, pretty big. Jets now 6-3 and in the playoff hunt. So Thursday night, Buffalo Bills at New England Patriots. The Bills, like I said, third now home a road game in a row. Interesting fact about the Patriots: Bill Belichick, when he loses by 30 points or more, when he gives up 30 points or more, they gave up 31 to the Vikings last week. He's 8-0 in the game following, and not just against the spread, but outright winner. Here they are catching 3.5 tonight, Thursday night football against the Bills, who just aren't right. There's something not right about the Bills right now. They're not as explosive as we expected. Maybe Josh Allen's hurt a little bit. The receivers aren't performing. I know from putting our picks together before the show, we're on opposite sides of the fence on this one, Badlands. I think that the Patriots find a way to win at home, and certainly taking plus the 3.5 points. You think the Bills are in a get right spot?
Yeah, I do. And we didn't hit it in the college section, but the first leg was Tulane. I had Tulane laying points in that game, in their championship game. But in this game right here, I do. I like Buffalo. I think it's a get right spot for them right here. I think they're gonna find a way to take it down. I'm still not big on Mac Jones. Um, don't really think he's a great quarterback. Josh Allen, who I think is a good quarterback, even though, like you said, the explosiveness hasn't been there that we saw early in the year when they were putting up 40 and 50 points against everybody they played. Uh, Definitely a get right spot for them here. I think they're going to end up pulling it out. I know the stats are pointing towards New England victory, but I just think Buffalo's going to find a way to get it done. So I'm going to lay the points and take Buffalo.
Badlands Brandon. He's at Badlands Brandon on Twitter. You can always follow our Twitter handles to see our picks throughout the week. He likes Buffalo. Badlands Clown picks, and that is his first NFL pick. The Bills minus 3.5. His first clown pick for the NFL. Me, I'm going to pop my graphic up now. Playtourx.org, Birdie Play of the Week. I like the Pats. I like the Patriots. I like them on Thursday night. Short week. less time to prepare, but these two teams know each other well. I think Belichick will have a plan together, and they will at least keep it close against these Bills who are still trying to find their swagger again. All right, let's go to Sunday. Titans at the Eagles. Titans lost to Cincinnati in Nashville last week, Badlands. Eagles put it on Green Bay and took care of business at home. Eagles just with the one loss. Titans can't score. Can they score on this Eagles team this week to keep it close? Eagles 4.5 over under 44.5.
No, I don't think so. I think Philadelphia is going to show why they're one of the premier teams in the NFL. Tennessee's inability to score is going to stretch out into this game too. So I would just say you stay safe here. You take the Eagles, you lay the points, and just find a way to get to next week.
You know, I agree with you more or less there. I wouldn't take the Titans. I will say this for a team that's rarely respected by Vegas or anyone else, that line's kind of low. They must expect Tennessee to give a good effort here. Broncos at the Ravens. Lamar Jackson dealing with some sort of groin injury, been out of practice this week. They say he's going to be able to play, but I don't know how effective. Lamar not having his best season yet either. But the Broncos are just an absolute disaster. Russell Wilson getting yelled at by offensive linemen. They say he had a birthday party this week and only half the team showed up for it. I don't know how bad that is, Badlands. I mean, half the team sounds pretty good to me. Grown men showing up at another grown man's birthday party, but I guess that's where we are. Wondering how Russell Wilson's meshing with the Broncos. Ravens 8 over under 38.5.
Yeah, with even if Lamar Jackson decides to go, and I'm really worried about his effectiveness, especially with the groin injury, especially with him liking to get out there and run around. Uh, if he injures it further or even is out of the game completely, this is probably a game I'll stay away from, especially with him having that injury. If I was going to do anything, I may just take a shot on the under. Um, just just because I think that may be the better play, but I'm probably going to stay away from it. But the under doesn't sound like a terrible play here.
Does not. Low 38.5, but Denver, I mean, this I wouldn't expect the winner may not score 20 points here. Denver still does have a pretty solid defense unless they're playing the Carolina Panthers where they gave up almost 30 last week. Jets at Vikings. Vikings staved off the critics last week with a big win over New England on Thanksgiving night. Jets under Mike White changing out the quarterbacks got a big win in the rain at home last week against the Bears. Now a light favorite, the Vikings 3 over under 44.5. I believe this is another clown pick. Am I right? Am I right, Badlands?
That is correct. This will be the third leg. The Vikings -3. I'm high on the Vikings. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for the Vikings. I have been known to jinx some teams, so hopefully they won't come looking for me if I say they're going to win this game outright. No, I do like the Vikings. Kirk Cousins has done a hell of a job at the quarterback spot. I think everything's meshing for him. The defense is playing really well. The line only being at 3 has me a little bit concerned, especially with the back playing a team with a backup quarterback. That kind of puts a little bit of doubt in my mind, but I still think the Vikings are the better team here. So I just went ahead and threw it out there. I'm going to take the Vikings laying the 3, and hopefully they get there.
Well, if I wasn't snake bit on totals, I would have gave out this total as one of my Play Tour X birdie plays of the week. But I haven't done any good with totals, so I'm laying low on this one, even though I did give out one in college. I like the over here. The Jets under Mike White seem to move the ball well and score points, and this is not just last week, even last year when Mike White was in there. And then the Vikings, they can score at will as well. 44.5 seems a little low to me. I would take the over in that one. Browns at Texans, the return of Deshaun Watson. Boy, oh boy. The NFL knew how to do this one. They were bringing him back after 11-game suspension, and he has to go to Houston to face his old team. First time Deshaun Watson's played in almost 2 years. Who knows what we're going to see there? I can tell you this much, though. I think this will be the Houston Texans Super Bowl, I think you will get the absolute best effort you can get out of that sad bunch down there in Houston. Getting 7 points over under 46 and a half. A lot of storylines here. The lawyer that represented several of the women in the civil suits that were settled uh, against Sean Watson and the happy ending massage parlor deal down there in Houston that he seemed to have such an affection for. He says he's bringing the women to the game, Badlands, to show that we're still here. Well, I mean, what is that all about? Deshaun Watson, they settled. They agreed. They took the amount of money that was offered, whatever it was, in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, in each case. The man's got to work and make the money to pay off the women that took the settlement, right? What are they doing there? Didn't they get their money? Isn't that over?
You would think so, or maybe they just love Deshaun Watson so much that they just want to come out and watch him earn that paycheck. You just don't ever know, man. But yeah, the crazy thing for me is, when you hadn't played football in that long, there's got to be some rust that's built up on you. You're not used to playing every week. But I think what you said is right. This is going to be a huge game for Texas. This is it for them. And having Deshaun Watson back after a 2-year hiatus, and him having his cheering squad up there, he's going to be focused on them, blowing kisses from the sideline and everything else. I don't think he's going to be ready for this one. I think you take the Texans plus a 7 here. I don't think he's going to be ready to go. I think he's got other things on his mind, possibly.
Well, I agree with you. I agree with you. The other side of it is Kobe Brissett, who was the quarterback for the first 11 games, had a great come from behind overtime win over the GOAT last week, Tampa Bay at home. And I'm not sure that even 50% of the team is on board with the quarterback change right here. I'm not sure how much of this team with Deshaun Watson not being able to be in the clubhouse until just 2 weeks ago. What kind of chemistry is there between the team and the quarterback? So all that said, PlayTourX.org, final birdie play of the week. Give me the Texans and give me 7 points. It's their Super Bowl. Let's see what they can do. I'll take a chance. I'll take a chance on the Houston Texans plus a touchdown. The Commanders and Giants, Badlands. All of a sudden, the NFC least is now once again the NFC East. All the teams having a chance for the playoffs. If the playoffs were to start today, both the Commanders and the Giants would be in. However, over the next 3 weeks, Commanders and Giants play twice. One of them likely to fall out of the playoff picture. Commanders 2.5-point favorite under Tyler Heineke on the road. Over under 40. What do you think? The G-Man and Saquon Barkley, or do you like Heineken Light? Heineke, the Washington Commanders.
I don't know. I'm big on Saquon Barkley and his ability to ignite the offense with the run here. This is probably going to be another one that I might stay away from, or I might dabble in it during the end game. I don't really know yet. I don't think the Commanders are really that good. I don't really think the Giants are that good either. Um, but they both have a chance to secure a playoff spot. But in this game, I'm just going to go with my gut feeling. They say your gut feeling's usually the right one. I'm going to take the Giants in this one.
All right, he likes the Giants plus 2.5 at home. Here's Big Daddy C's big play of the week. His first one in the NFL. He likes the over 51.5 as the Jaguars travel to the red hot Detroit Lions. Uh, the Lions typically are involved in high scoring affairs, and win or lose, they usually can score some points. So the over 51.5 is where Big Daddy C's going with that. Maybe thinks Trevor Lawrence might find his footing against this suspect Lions defense. Lions have won 3 or 4 somehow, some way, and actually are very much mathematically alive for the playoffs. They're going to be giving you all they got this week. Jags a 1-point favorite, though, up there at Ford Field. What do you think, Badlands? Can the Jags win again? They did pull off the victory at home with the 2-point conversion against Baltimore last week.
No, I don't think so. Even though Jacksonville was able to get that overtime win, I still really kind of feel like, Detroit's got something. I don't know what they've got, but they've got something. They've been able to eke out 3 of their last 4. So there's something going on up there in Detroit. Maybe after we left last year, maybe they got some good juju going or something up there up in Detroit after we left. Maybe we left it with them, but I like Detroit in this one. I think I'm going to ride it and take the Lions in this one.
All right, he'll take the Lions at home to get the win. Steelers at Falcons. Falcons is just a 1 point favorite. Over under 42.5. Takes us to our second leg. Big Daddy C, big play of the week. I got the graphic up. He'll take the Steelers to get their second road win in a row, coming off the Monday night win in Indianapolis. He thinks they can beat the Falcons. Have you already got your win total for the year in for the Falcons, Badlands?
That is done and over with. I had them at 4.5, over 4.5, so they finally got there for me. Um, but now that I've got them there, I think I'm just going to dump them. I'm going to get rid of them. They did what I needed them to do, so I'm going to dump them now. But I like the Steelers here. I like the Steelers against the Falcons.
All right. Pickett and Pickens has turned out to be a pretty good young combination there for the two. They look good on Monday night. I'll agree with Big Daddy C and Badlands there. Let's go Steelers. The Packers at the Bears. Packers are a 4.5 point favorite, over under 43. Not sure on the status of Justin Fields. You'll need to check that, listeners, before the game. I think it makes a difference here for real. And also not 100% sure on the status of Aaron Rodgers, who missed several series in the Sunday night game. So questions at quarterback. I will tell you this much. The Bears, no matter what's going on in the season, no matter what, want to beat the Packers. If you can remember, it wasn't that long ago last year that Aaron Rodgers was scoring a touchdown late in the game and going up to the stands and the Chicago stands and saying, I own you. Well, let me tell you, the Bears want to win this game. I think it's a down year for the Packers. Don't buy the hype. Who cares if it's Love? Who cares if it's Rodgers in there? This is a chance for the Bears to pounce. If Justin Fields plays, give me the Bears, and I'll take the points. If he doesn't play, I'm probably going to sit back, pay close attention to this game as it starts, and find a spot maybe to get on the Bears in the in-game line. But I really want to find a way to play the Bears here. I really do, because I know they're going to give you all they got against the Packers. Miami at San Francisco. Miami red hot, but check this out. Hang on, Miami red hot. So is San Francisco. San Francisco has vaulted up the odds to win the NFC to become the favorite over the last 3 weeks. And rightly so, right? They brought in Christian McCaffrey. They already had Dabo, and Jimmy G back there managing the offense and a great defense. Well, Christian McCaffrey tweaked his knee last week. Here comes the injury bug to McCaffrey. It seems to always happen. Miami been playing great under Tua since the concussion, but here is where we're going to find out about Miami, Badlands. Let me tell you their next stretch. Miami this week at San Francisco. Next week at the Chargers. The next week at the Buffalo Bills. 3 straight road games against 3 tough teams. The Chargers trying to get right. And then they finish with a home game against Green Bay. They ought to be able to win. Then they're at New England, and then they host the Jets. So tough finishing sequence here for the Miami to find out if they're going to A, win the East, which they're ahead in the AFC East right now, and B, make the playoffs. But here we go. Dolphins start out this road game +4 at San Fran, over under 46.5. I like them here. I like them because I think they're going to say, all right, we got this stretch, just like I just looked at. We got to go out and prove we can win. Coach has ties to San Francisco. He was the offensive coordinator there before. He's going to be comfortable and want to give it all. I like their chances to start this road trip. Get them early in it, as I think they may fade down the stretch. I like the Dolphins +4. What say you, Badlands?
What says me is me say I flip you. I'm gonna take San Francisco. I'm gonna take San Francisco here. I think even if McCaffrey doesn't go with the tweaked knee, I still think everything that San Francisco's got with the offense and the defense, I think it's going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be one that is going to go all the way. It's going to come down to fourth quarter, but I think San Francisco finds a way to get it done in front of the home crowd. So I'm going to flip you on it. I'm going to take San Fran.
Okay, fair enough. Now, here's one. I want you to turn on the Wayback Machine here, Badlands Brandon. The way back. Let's go way back to August, late August, even the first week of September. First week of September, right? The NFL season lies before us. Now I'm going to tell you, at the first week of September, I would have said Badlands, Seattle, with out Russell Wilson, right? With Geno Smith as quarterback. They are going to play in Week 13 in LA and facing the Super Bowl defending champion LA Rams. And Seattle, is going to be a 7.5 point favorite. In a million years would you have ever believed that?
Absolutely not. Oh my God. Absolutely not. Uh,
Craziest thing of all. This deal. Seattle's played good, although they gave up a huge run in overtime to lose to the Raiders, and the Rams have absolutely just stunk it up this year. Now they've given up. They're tanking. They're pulling the plug on the season. It appears.
yeah.
No Aaron Donald, no Matthew Stafford, and then Cooper Cup with a high ankle injury. They just wrote him off for the year, so we're not going to risk that. They've been unable to score at all. I can't even tell you the name of the quarterback they're playing this week. And Seattle fighting for a playoff spot. You know what? I like Seattle. Maybe I'm crazy, but I like them. I think they're going to roll. What do you think?
I didn't hear you, Big Daddy. Come back, Jimmy.
I said, maybe I'm crazy with no Aaron Donald, no Cooper Cup, no Matthew Stafford. I don't think 7.5 points is enough. I like the Seahawks. Where do you stand?
Yeah, I like it too. You know, if they've already pulled the plug on all those guys, then you might as well pull the plug on the rest of their season. You take Seattle here, you take them plus the points. Now, again, you reiterate, if you would have told me that at the first of the year, I would have told you need to go get your head checked because there's something really, 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 really wrong with you. But with all that, with all the injuries, yeah, you got to take Seattle here.
All right. Kansas City goes on the road. They're playing great. They've almost wrapped up. I think they've all but wrapped up the AFC West, which has kind of been disappointing versus early season expectations as well. Not as disappointing as the Rams, but pretty close. They go to the Bengals. Bengals doing all they can to continue that hot streak that they ended them up in the Super Bowl last year. Chiefs 2 over under 52.5. Still no Jamar Chase for the Bengals. Where do you stand?
Yeah, I would have to go. I mean, Chase is such a big playmaker for them and everything. I've got to lean towards the under on this one. Um, I've done better hitting unders than I have hitting overs, but something kind of screams to me and tells me that this is going to be an under without one of their biggest playmakers in Jamar Chase. So I think I would probably just ride it and try to sneak the under in.
Biggest total of the week at 52.5. And you got arguably the two best quarterbacks in the NFL, at least in my opinion, the two best quarterbacks in the NFL. And I will put uh, Josh Allen right there with him. I don't think he's having as good a season as expected. Josh Allen, 11 interceptions, but I think he's right there with him. Just he's got to work out a few things, as do the Bills. I don't know about that over under 52.5. It's brave. I'll give you that, Badlands. It's brave to bet the under and with Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. All right. I think that's another one for me. Let me watch it start out. See if there's a way I want to jump into it in game. I just can't pick that one. Now, Big Daddy C can pick it. Big Daddy C in his big play of the week, he likes the Chiefs. Minus the 1.5 last night when he bet it. -2 now. He says the Chiefs will get it done on the road. Let's go to Sunday night. Indianapolis Colts and old Jeff Saturday in Dallas playing the Cowboys. Cowboys chugging along, looking good, exceeding all expectations for the season. Now, I told you the stretch coming up for the Dolphins, Badlands, how tough it is. And we'll find out if they're going to make the playoffs or not. We're going to find out if the Cowboys are going to win the NFC East or not. Because listen to this stretch for the Cowboys. Next 3 games. At home against Indianapolis, 10.5-point favorite. At home against Houston next week, they'll be a 15-point favorite. At Jacksonville, they'll be a touchdown favorite. So Dallas can look at this stretch and say, we can wrap it up. We can have a great seed. We can have a bye week, win our conference, everything else. Dallas' season is on the line. Can they begin this stretch by playing big and covering a 10.5-point spread at home against the Colts?
Well, I tell you what I think I'm going to do with the Dallas Cowboys because the playoffs are right around the corner, and we know what the Cowboys absolutely love to do in the playoffs, which is tank and tank hard.
I don't think they won
Uh,
in 25 years or something like that.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, but for this game, I think I would just do what my brain is telling me to do, which is down, tease them down, get them down just to 3 points. Uh, get the win or however many points, 3 or 4. Um,
You can get it down to under a touchdown in
all
a
right,
2-game teaser. You can get it down to 4.5 right now.
all right.
If you want to
So
do a
I would,
three-game teaser, you get 10 points. You can get them down to just minus a half. You got to find 2 other games to go with it. So
yeah, I think I would just try to tease it down and get it to that 4.5 mark. That tends a little too much for me, but I think Dallas is going to win the game. They're at home. I do like them to win the game. I'm not sure about that 10.5, so I might find something to tease that down with.
maybe you tease it with that Seattle game. Take Seattle down and just
Yeah.
half of the Rams. I like that pair myself. And then Monday night, a couple of teams that are, you know, trying to figure out who's going to win that NFC South. I mean, the Bucks are still the big favorite. They have a 1-game lead, so I guess they should be the big favorite, but they have an under 500 record and a 1-game lead in the NFC South. Saints travel to the Bucks. Bucks a 4-point favorite after blowing the lead late in Cleveland last week, over under 40.5. The Saints have been really a thorn in Brady's side there at Tampa Bay, at least during the regular season. Tampa did win the playoff game against the Saints on their way to the Super Bowl win in Brady's first year in Tampa Bay. Monday Night Football wrap up the week, wrap up the show for us here, Badlands Brandon. What do you expect with the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton for the Saints, and the GOAT, Tom Brady, for the Buccaneers? Did you hear me
Can you
on
hear me?
that? Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
Badlands. Take us home. Brady and the Bucks, Andy Dalton and the Saints, Bucks 40.5.
Yeah, you know, I think you made your point talking about the Saints just being a thorn for Brady and the rest of that Bucks team. I would go out on a limb. My first gut tells me to take Brady just to get it done and uh, take the Saints out. But the other part of me is saying the Saints might have a chance in this one. So what I might possibly do just to go out on a limb is I may take my teaser with Dallas and uh, tease the Tampa Bay game,
All right,
and
and
then tease it, and then and
the
then tease it towards
Saints.
uh, Saints. Yeah.
So take Saints plus 10.
Yep.
Bad. That's not bad. I think the points would be the way to go there too. And a low total of 40.5. Not expecting much offense out of either one of these teams on Monday night. I think if you can get 10 in a game that's somewhat expected to be somewhat low scoring, that's not a bad way to go. All right, well, that will wrap it up. We're going to grab a quick break. After this break, we're going to come back and we're going to go over our picks for the week and close out the program. You've caught Nall or Nuthin. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. Been a long show today. We had to go through a lot of stuff. Gone for 2 weeks. Went over the college football, how that season, regular season played out, and then covered the upcoming conference championship games, and then caught you up through week 12 in the NFL, and then made you a few picks and discussed these games of week 13. Badlands, out of your three plays, let's see what we have here for Badlands. Brandon, I've got Tulane, Bills, and Vikings. Which one? I don't know that we actually covered that Tulane game. I want to give you a second to go back and talk about that one.
Yeah, so Tulane's playing UCF in the AAC championship game. Now, keep in mind that these are two teams that just met each other on November the 12th of this year, towards the end of the season, and UCF came out touchdown winner in that game. That game was a lot tighter than the way it all played out. But I think this is going to be a good get right spot for Tulane. I've been high on Tulane all year. I think their offense can move the ball. I think their defense can make stops. Um, it could be a toss up, but I just think this is a good spot for Tulane. That 3.5 scares me a little bit because you live and die by that half point. But I'm just hoping Tulane finds a way to get out there, get on the gas early. Maybe UCF stumbles with the defense, and Tulane finds a way to get it home. But I like Tulane in that AAC matchup.
Tulane's been good to me this year. They rarely they're giving you a good effort every week. I like your angle here with the bounce back and an opportunity to amend a late season loss there against UCF. My only hang up here why I can't join you in this bet is because I have a preseason bet on UCF to win that conference at 2.5 to 1. So I need them to win the game so I can get my 2.5 to 1 preseason bet. So I got to root against you, but I don't disagree with your pick. I'd almost rather have Tulane at 2.5. I could have got Tulane at better than 2.5 to 1 before the season started. Could have probably got 6 or 7 to 1 on that one. But there's a clown pick we missed in the college segment. But I'm going to pop up our graphics. We're going to go over all the picks we gave out of the show, and then we're going to skate out of here. Let's start with college football. College football summary best bets. Nall, your host, I gave you a 2-game teaser. Kansas State plus 8.5 with Troy minus 2.5. 2-game teaser, you get 6 points on each game, but you have to hit both. If one misses, you lose the bet. I also gave you a straight bet in the SEC championship game. I like Georgia under the 51.5. I got it at last night. It's at 51 now. That's fine. Take the under 51. Big Daddy C, he likes TCU to continue the magical season. He likes them laying the 2.5. I say, ooh, that's a little scary having to beat Kansas State twice and Kansas State playing as good as anybody in the country right now. So he likes TCU, says they'll keep the run going. And Badlands Brandon, as discussed, likes Tulane to win the conference championship, avenge a late season loss to UCF. Let's go to our NFL board now. NFL summary of picks. Thursday night, that's tonight here in just a few minutes. Jump on the Patriots. Grab it, 3.5 points. Belichick, 8-0, coming off games where he gave up 30 points or more. Gave up 31 to the Vikings on Thanksgiving night. And then the Texans and their Super Bowl, only thing they have left to play for is try to look good, be prideful against their old quarterback, Deshaun Watson, who comes off the shelf after almost 2 years and opens up his campaign as the Browns quarterback in Houston. I'll take the Texans plus 7. Hope you get maximum effort, and maybe Deshaun Watson is rusty. Big Daddy C, he likes Lions over 51.5. He likes the Steelers plus 1. He likes the Chiefs minus 1.5. And Badlands Brandon, he's on the opposite side of me tonight. He likes the Bills to get right and outscore this pedestrian Patriots offense. And he also likes the Vikings minus 3 at home on Sunday against the Jets. That will wrap up Nall or Nothing. It has been our pleasure to bring these games and these picks to you again this week. For Big Daddy C1000 and Badlands, Brandon. I'm your host, Jason Nall. We are out of here.
I said, united we stand, in God we trust. There is no fear. United we stand, in God we trust. There is no fear. United we stand, in God we trust. There is no fear. There is no fear.